Good day, guys. Still on our topic, optics. So in our last meeting, I tried to discuss about optics. I told you that optics is a branch of physics that studies light, study the behavior of light, the properties of light. You can also tell us how light behaves with or relate with other matters. And I told you light can be seen in three different or even more. So I gave you three different forms of light. So when I say light, it could mean rays. When I say light, it could mean wave. And I also told you when they say light, we may be talking about particles like photons. So I tried to pick one of those three meanings I have projected for light. That when we say light, here we want to talk about when light means rays. And when light is given the meaning of rays, there are two major properties that we must always remember for light. Then, that is when light is given the meaning of rays. There are two major properties that must be remembered for light. One of them is called reflection, and the other one is called what? Refraction. So it was that refraction we tried to explain on that in the last meeting, because I explained lens, and lens refract light. So when we say refraction will always occur through what? Lens, because refraction is the bending away of a ray from its initial position when it travels through two media of different density. So this is a lens. So when light travels, then you see it refracts, it bends. That is what they call refraction. This is another ray. When passing through the lens, it also what? Refract. So there is no how we discuss refraction without discussing what? Lens. And that's why I try to discuss very deeply the types of lens, the subdivision of lens, the image formation on lens, and some other things about lens. So today we shall be looking at another properties of light when it means rays. And that is what? Reflection. And we cannot discuss reflection without discussing what? Mirrors. Because mirror is an optical device that reflects light. While lens is an optical device that refracts light or ray. So today we shall be looking at reflection and the device that can be used to study reflection very deeply, and that is called what? Mirrors. So let us go into that definition of reflection itself. Reflection is a repropagation of light rays. Repropagation of light rays when incidented on a surface. This is a surface, this is the sun, and this is a light ray falling on the surface. So when this is being repropagated, that is exactly what reflection is. Repropagation of light rays when incidented. Incident means when it falls on the surface. So this line shall be called incident ray. This one shall be called reflected ray. And there is always a line between incident and reflected. That line is called what? Normal. But I am not teaching reflection today. I only want to teach the device, the optical device that help reflection. So, and that device is nothing but what? Mirror. So, which means when light fall on the mirror, mirror reflect it. Mirror send that light back to the surrounding. And that is exactly what we're dealing with under mirror. So, some of mirrors are so common. We have it in our houses. We do work with them on a daily basis, and that one is called plain mirror. Very common everywhere. That's mirror we look to see how beautiful we are, how tall we are, how short we are, how black we are. That one is common to our various homes. That one is called plain mirror. I'm not going to go deeply into plain mirror because it does not have much application in science. So that's why I will not go deeply into it. But when we say mirrors, there are two types of mirrors. One is called plain mirrors. The other one is called curved mirror. So I've told you that I'm not going deeply into plain mirror because the application is not that much in science, but we need to know some property for plane mirror. So when we talk about plane mirror, that is the mirror we have in our room. That one is called plane mirror. So we have some property that must be known for plane mirror. One of that property for plane mirror is that plane mirror must be inverted. The image in the place of property of the image through plane mirror now. Properties of the image formed by a plane mirror. It must be, the image must be what? Inverted. What's the meaning? When you point your left hand to the plane mirror give you back the what? The right. That is what you call what? Inverted. So every plane mirror, the mirror in your room, you just try to point your left hand to the direction of the mirror. You see the mirror pointing your right hand back to you. That is what we call what? Inverted. So every plane mirror must give an inverted what? Image. Another property of the image formed by a plane mirror is that it's going to be virtual. It's going to be virtual. What do you mean by virtual? It means it is not going to be an image that can be caught. Past tense of catch. So that when you see yourself in the mirror, can you catch yourself? Of course, you cannot catch yourself. So any image form that cannot be caught, past tense of catch, is called what? Virtual. Unlike in the case of lenses, at the end of you can see that image, a lens is what producing. But a mirror, we can only see the mirror, but we cannot catch that image in the mirror. And that's why we say the image is also what? Virtual. So these are the properties of image formed by any plane mirror. Another property is that it is always the same size as the object. So a plane mirror gives the same size as that of the object. In other words, the size of the object is going to be the size of the image formed by any plane mirror. So you write this one as what? Same size. Same what? Same size. Another one is same distance. Same what? Distance. Meaning the distance between you and the mirror is going to be the distance between the mirror and the what? And the image. So if you are 5 centimeters away from the mirror, so your image is expected to be formed behind the mirror at a 0.5 centimeter away from what? Mirror. So these are some of the properties we have for plane mirror. I'm not going deeply into that. Then the number of images that can be formed by a plane mirror, we have the formula to be number of images equals to 360 divided by theta over, minus what? Minus 1. 360 divided by theta, then what? Minus 1. Theta is the angle between the mirror. For instance, if you get two plane mirror and you place them in angle 90 like this, two plane mirror, you place them, this is one, this is the other, in angle 90. So angle between the two of them is 90. So if you divide 360 by 90, that will be 4. So 4 minus 1, that will be 3. It means when two plane mirrors are placed in angle 90 to themselves, the number of images that they can form is 3. You can try it when you get to. When you have any two plane mirror, put both of them in angle 90, and you will see that you are going to see 3 images from both of them. Because 360 divided, the formula is 360 divided by the angle between them, and when you know that, subtract 1 out of it, it's going to be the number of images formed by that. So I'm not going deeply more than this in plane mirror. But let us go to our target. Our main target for today is curved mirror. That's our main target for today. Curved mirror. That's our main target for today. So we want to discuss curved mirror. Curved mirror, which is the number 2 type or the number 2nd type of what? Mirror. Curved mirror. It has so many applications in science, and that is why we need to discuss curved mirror. 1. Let us see how we can identify a curved mirror. There are 2 types of curved mirror. I have the one called concave, and I have the one called convex. In the case of lens, it is concave diverge. That's I'm talking about in the case of lens, the one I have treated previously. Concave lens is the one that what? Diverges. While convex is the one that what? Converges. In the case of lens. But in the case of mirror, concave is also known as what? Converging lens. Sorry, mirror. while convex mirror is also known as what? Diverging mirror. I hope you get that difference right. In the case of lens, this one diverges while this one converges. But in the case of mirror, this one converges while this one diverges. Which means I can say concave mirror is otherwise known as converging mirror, while convex mirror is otherwise known as diverging mirror. Now, how do we identify? The same way we identify them under concave. Here too, they have means of identifying them. Under concave, under left, sorry, I told you convex lens, which is concave, is thicker at the middle than at the what? Edge. While concave is thicker at the edge than the what? Middle. Here too, in the case of mirror, there are two parts of mirror. One of the side is the reflecting part. Don't forget, I'm talking about reflection. I told you mirror is the one that reflects. So there are two faces for this. This is one of the face and is the reflecting part, and this is the other part, and this one is the silver part. So meaning there are two parts for every curved mirror: the reflecting part and the what? Silver part. Now every curved mirror we have the reflecting part and the what? Silver part. Now how do we now identify? If the inside, because it's going to curve, that's why we call it curved, it's going to curve. If the inside is the reflecting part and the outside is the silver part, it is what? Concave. I repeat, if the mirror curved, so you now look at inside, you discover that inside is the part that reflects the light, while the outside is the silver part. It is an example of what? Concave. So which means this is a concave, because this is inside and this is outside. Inside is the reflecting part, outside is the silver part. So this is an example of what? Concave mirror, which is also known as converging what? Mirror. Now, if the outside is the silver part, this is outside, silver part, sorry, reflecting part rather. If the outside is the reflecting part and the inside is the silver part, here the inside is the reflecting, the outside is silver, that's concave. But here it is the inside that is the silver part, while the outside is the what? Reflecting part. Silver part is the inside, the outside is what? Reflecting, shall be called what? Convex. So let's look in at the diagram. Look at the diagram. So this is the reflecting part. This symbol shows that the here is the silver part. So you can see that it is inside that is the reflecting part, while the outside is the silver part. So this is an example of what? Concave, which is also a converging lens. Now here you can see that it is the outside that is the reflecting part, while the inside is the what? Silver part. So this is an example of what? Convex, which is also known as what? Diverging what? Lens. Sorry, mirror. Diverging mirror. Now, I think with that analysis, we should be able to always differentiate between a concave mirror and a what? Convex mirror. That is what? Identification of what? Mirror. Curved mirror. Now, there are texts we use in curved mirror. So we are going to continue in our next class. Thank you very much.